All right, well, good morning. Welcome again to 1 Million Cups. Hey, it's May 1st and it's sunny out. Isn't that awesome? Woo! Did somebody boo? Oh, they want more snow. All right, well, let's get this thing started. We've got, as usual, two fantastic startups to talk about. Anyone here for the first time? Oh, yeah, fantastic. Well, for those of you who have been here not before and are here for the first time, here's kind of how this works. At 1 Million Cups, we present two startups every week. They have 6 minutes to talk about themselves, who they are, what they do, who their customers are, and how they serve them. And then we pepper them for 20 minutes with really tough questions, or at least interesting ones, or at least things that you want to know more about them. So that's how that works. Our usual housekeeping rule, Kaufman takes care of us, gives us this fantastic space. Please clean up after yourself when we're done here, so take your cups, all million of them, and put them in the proper waste basket. All right, starting up today, we have Media Cloud, Mobile Solutions. Anyone ever get a flu shot? Or go to a doctor, or I don't know, do anything medical? Probably. Well, Media Cloud is working to improve the workflow of those healthcare providers to make it more efficient, to get you in there and get you what you need for your medical requirements, which I could certainly use for my doctor's office. So please welcome, without further ado, Dave Rexroth from Media Cloud Mobile Solutions.
Good morning. Just one note, Mike, Medi Cloud, not Media Cloud. So we're Medi Cloud. I'm Dave Rexroth. This is my partner, Aaron Butler, and I've been told I got 6 minutes, so I'm going to try and get right into it and get moving as fast as I can. Why don't we move this right along? How we started. I own a wellness company that does health screenings and flu shot clinics at corporate accounts. We receive reimbursement from insurance carriers to do this. That's Employer Wellness Solutions. And so I had a problem where when I would go and do flu clinics, I'd end up with literally thousands of pieces of paper. And I'd have to take that paper and I'd have to transcribe that into a claim system somehow and then get paid. And you can imagine all the mistakes. I mean, we're dealing from Medicare people to all, just, think of the handwriting that you're trying to read. And if you get one ID number transposed, it doesn't matter, you get the wrong birth date. We had an error rate of 8%. And it was a huge hassle, number one, to get that 8% cleaned up because these are all little claims. We're talking like $25 claims. Just a huge pain in the butt. So I was, after the 2010 season, which is not that long ago, if you think about it, it's only 2.5 years ago, I had a light bulb moment. It was, I'm thinking, do I image this information? What do I do? I was on a golf trip in Scottsdale, and this was January of 2011. And so, again, it's not that long ago. iPads were pretty new then. People were trying to figure out if it was really a value to iPads. We went on a 45-minute ride from a house to this golf course, and my buddy pulls out his iPad and spent 45 minutes working, making phone calls, reading, moving spreadsheets, and I said, wait a minute, these things have real value. There's something to it. And that's where I went, and I decided that I needed to get my own app to do this system. So that's when in 2011 I developed an RFP to capture data required for claim submission so I could move my process from a paper-based process to completely paperless. And so we went through the process, and I ended up selecting Abacor to do, and that's Aaron's business, Aaron's company, to do the app for me and develop that app. Well, the first season when we had that app in place, I cut that error rate in half. Now, all that app, I shouldn't say all that app, the app did a lot, but it was still manually inputting the data, but it was onto the app as opposed to paper, so we really cleaned up a lot of the errors. We still had a handful of errors. It was a great improvement, but we had a lot of things we could do. And after the season, Aaron and I got together and we fixed a few items. Because their platform goes across many, many businesses, they said, well, we can preload information. So as opposed to having to manually input it, we could go to our customer and say, just send us a spreadsheet of first, last, city, street, state, zip, and we preload it into our app, and all of a sudden, our data's clean. So at that point, we realized that the solution was really much bigger than my little regional company in Kansas City, and that's when we formed MediCloud. It's a joint venture between me and Aaron and his partner, Sean, which is Abacor. And we're transferring the license from basically from the organizations into MediCloud. And then throughout last year, before the flu season, we kept trying to improve and get the product ready, again, for a second year, basically, of testing with employer wellness solutions and really building the entire product. We used that app again in 2012, and these were the results. I don't know how you can get much better than this, really frankly, just because data is never perfect. But our error rate dropped to under 2% with the preloading of the information. And what's really cool, and I've got a friend here from Blue Cross, and he knows that this is what I mean when I say auto adjudication. Our auto adjudication rate, that means when we send the data to an insurance company, they don't even have to touch that claim. They auto adjudicate it and pay it. We were above 98%, which is just phenomenal. And really, frankly, it means you don't really need to go back and try and clean that much up. You're pretty clean as it is. And we reduced our revenue cycle in 2010, which was well over 45 days, to 7 to 10 business days. And that's huge too. I mean, when I finished my season last 2012 in November, I had all my revenue in before Christmas. It was awesome. So the four products, where are we at? We have 4 products ready and built to license. It's an easy to use app. We create a tremendous reduction in errors, big reduction in revenue cycle, low-cost licensing versus build from scratch. And we also have an enterprise solution which can do things beyond just the basic products. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to quickly move here. This is the old, you probably can't read this slide, but this is a look at the app. This is what it actually looks like. There's the patient information. You probably can't see this. Yeah, that's not very good. The patient information, insurance, legal information. There's information actually under there, but that's a quick view of what the app looks like for the flu shots. We also have one that we do for health screenings. And then what is our market? Well, there's over 140 million flu shots delivered in the US annually. And by our estimation, there's over 30 million health screenings delivered every year. And so our plan, and again, we're just starting up, we're just getting off the ground. Our plan is we're currently developing a national independent sales network to help us deliver this license into the marketplace. And so that's really, my 6 minutes is up. So that's the quick and dirty. So that's it. And I guess we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Dave. And MediCloud.
Given the benefits to the insurance company of the higher rate of auto adjudication, would you expect some potential incentive from them for customers who use a system like this?
That's a great question. I'll answer that a couple of different ways. First, my main business, Employer Wellness Solutions, has reaped the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. I've gotten additional insurance contracts from other insurance carriers as a result of when I've applied to do business to do that. So I would anticipate that other wellness vendors that would license this could use that information to get better, to get more contracts with insurance carriers. I would love to see more opportunities from them. I'd like to see them, bring more business just as a result of this, because it's good for them as well. And that's something we'd love to see.
Great, thanks.
Questions about errors, and so obviously, I'd love to be able to see get that error rate down to a fraction of a percent. And so, what are the errors that you're still getting? And is there some way that you can integrate in a technology like iVerify, where you could basically scan somebody's eye, that gets you a QR code that then links directly to all of their specific information, so that you don't have to populate any of it?
That's a great question, Aaron.
I'm going to address.
He's my technical guy. That's why he's here. Yeah.
I'm going to address something that Dave didn't hit, and that is the platform. The app platform right now is iOS based for iPhone and iPad. There are new capabilities and technologies per that question that we're continuing to investigate and put into our core platform. One of the neat things that we've done is we've partnered with a company called Box.com in Palo Alto. So a lot of the data that we're talking about, patient data, is encrypted and HIPAA secure. So information coming to and from the iPads is information that we can manage pretty easily, I think. And so that we got a nice cloud-based platform, and then the screenshot you saw was really something that is very easy from a form perspective. How do you make new fields? How do you change it specifically for this client versus someone else sees something different? So we basically set that up.
And let me try and answer that a little bit more too, because I'm real interested in that question. I'm not sure totally how to respond, but what we're building and the whole purpose of that form is every data piece on here, and again underneath there's a lot of other information below. Every piece of every single data piece we have to send to the cloud, because that information has to go to the carrier to get paid. So we've got to have that information residing on that form to send up to the cloud, or at some point later we've got to build something to marry it. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know that if we have a good answer to your question, but somehow we've got to capture all that data and have it in one place, in one long data line, to be able to get the claim paid.
And part of the reason we did the cloud integration was the platform is designed to be used offline too, so you don't have to be in a connected area or go into a company and try to connect to their network or whatever. All the data can be captured local, and it's secure to the iPad, and then when you're back from an admin perspective like Dave, he can sync that data to the secure site later on. So we kind of have an online, offline capability.
So Dave and I, we've had coffee a few times, and we talked about this idea. I think to help me wrap my head around it again, talk about a real-world case scenario. Who do you see actually holding this app? Who's using it? How are you selling it, or who are you selling it to? Are you selling it to the clinics? Are you selling it to screeners? Are you selling it to doctors' offices? Talk about that, because that kind of goes into the sales cycle that you guys are heading for.
I see our customers as being insurance carriers, hospital organizations, and then there's a group that I'll just deem as wellness providers. And there's so many ways you can talk about who's a wellness provider. What I would call a wellness provider, and my definition is any company who contracts with either directly with an employer or through an insurance carrier or other third-party payer to deliver health screenings or flu shot clinics or some kind of a wellness service where they go on site out to a community center, a corporate customer, to a retirement community, anything like that. So there are literally thousands of those organizations, from very small to organizations that will contract with the Blue Cross or United Healthcares of the world. They're all across the board. What I would say our target market is, what I would say is kind of a mid-sized wellness vendor is probably our very best target, because they're in the position where they probably can't afford to spend maybe the $100,000 or more to build their own personal app, but they can certainly afford to license our app at a much less expensive rate. Now, we do have the enterprise solution, and we can certainly build from a platform a solution for any size company. But from just our out-of-the-box products, they're really focused on kind of that mid-sized employer.
There are many innovations like this that stem from a service business that currently exists. You obviously don't have a technical background. What is your recommendation for somebody else who maybe has a service business, they've notified or they've seen a problem within the industry and they're looking for a developer? You obviously found a great one that became a partner. What is your suggestion as you move through that process of finding somebody to build the tool for you?
Yeah, well, I started networking. I called some friends that I knew and said, do you know somebody who's in the app development business? Because I didn't know. First of all, this group didn't even exist then, so I didn't have anywhere to go to find something like that. I'm sure there's plenty of app developers in this room or people that are doing that. So I went to some friends and networked and found a couple of local people that develop apps that do a nice job, and then I did some internet research and found a couple of big national vendors too. So when I did my RFP, I looked kind of at local and then the big nationals, and you can imagine the price, there's some fairly significant price difference in those, but the big nationals could not only do iOS, but they do the Google platforms too, and they had all, they could throw a million bells and whistles at you. It really depends on your budget, what you want. But this group's probably a great place to start or start networking. But there's plenty of app developers in this market that can probably work with you from a budget standpoint.
Dave, we've got a question over here on the left side.
Good morning.
Hi.
You talked about your ability to do data downloads offline. What happens to that data after you sync it? Does it stay on the iPad? From a security perspective, how are you managing that?
It does not. Once the data goes to Box, we have various ways to set what we call, the screen you're not seeing is there's kind of a library of information for forms. So this may be the Premier form, then there's one where it doesn't have so much data elements. We can set those so that once data is entered and a record is submitted, it's gone, right? So once you sync it, there's nothing left on the iPad.
So I just went to the website real quick, and I saw like on the home page, you guys were using a card reader or a scanner of some kind, and I just think that's really interesting. Can you talk more about, is
Sure.
that an actual offering? Or?
Sure. You see this little icon right here? It's iPay Mobile. There's a couple of uses for the scanner. One is if a customer is out and they run across somebody who has no insurance or isn't covered by the insurance plan, that's a hot link to it'll bring up a way to charge a credit card. I mean, everybody pretty much knows now you can charge a credit card off an iPad or off an iPhone. That's basically what it is. So it's integrated into our system where we can swipe that card and get them and collect payment from that individual right then. So we don't have to collect a check or anything like that. The other beauty of that is that we can also use it to collect data. For instance, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City's card has a magnetic strip on it. And we actually have it programmed so that we've got if you look right up at the top there's a little blue, you see that it looks like the back of a credit card right there? If you tap that and swipe it, you can actually populate the information on the Blue Cross card. Not everybody has that capability, but Blue Cross of Kansas City does, and it'll populate that. What they have on their form, it'll populate it, so we don't, again, have to do anything else with it. So it's got that kind of capability.
Whoa. Sorry, I'm really excited. I think this is really interesting because we've never really had like two startup companies come together and kind of do a joint venture. So can you talk about how that relationship works and, just not to get in too much into it, but what are the challenges that you're facing right now? It's maybe a separate question, but there's two companies coming together creating something new.
Well, money is always one. I would say, from my perspective, and you can talk for yourself, Aaron, it's time. It's time because I've got another start. My other business is only 3 years old, and it's we all talk about this. Not all, but we hear this term hockey stick. That business is starting to hockey stick on me because of this app, and so here I am, just busy as can be. And now we've been working on this technology. Now it's ready to go, so it's finding time.
Yeah, I agree. I think the immediate pain points we're going through right now, I wouldn't call them pain. I'd just call them normal business things, but. Capacity is one, so time that we are both spending with other clients as well as trying to launch this business. And two, funding. If we know we've proved it, we know we've executed it with his business for the last few years, so we know it works. We know there's always improvements that can be done to it, but that will continue to go on. I think the ability to figure out, I think from a hiring resource perspective, leads back to the money situation. So if it's going to be as successful as we think, how do we ramp up and grow, right? How many clients do we want to go out? How many sales reps do we want to have initially go sell this? So we'd be interested in some feedback after this too.
Yeah, and at this point, we haven't had an investor. We haven't gone out and gotten any money. And so it's really been just between the two of us. And so we're kind of at a point of, this leads to one of the end questions. What do you need? we need to. That's the next step we need to figure out, is what to do, where we get the money.
How does this tie in with electronic medical records?
Well, that's a really good question. I'll respond this way. This is a real simple solution. If you took, from what I know about the electronic medical record and tried to use that for what we're doing, it just wouldn't work because there's way too much information that they're trying to capture in an EMR. That this is just very simply a way to capture all the data you need. Now, I would tell you from what we do here, we're creating a CSV file. So it's very, very simple if the wellness company or the insurance company, the back end, wants to transfer that data some way or work with that data. It's very, very simple to use. I wouldn't say we're the conduit to get it into an EMR, but there's no reason that that data isn't flexible enough to be used in that kind of a way.
Hi there. So coming from a long-standing background in account management and managed care for a pharmaceutical company, got lots of questions here.
Sure.
First of all, is this applicable to other vaccines?
Sure.
I mean, it looks like it very well should be. So, because vaccines are one of the most rapidly growing categories in pharmaceuticals, so you would have an opportunity to just extend this out to others. As part of your scanning, do you scan lot codes on the vaccine itself?
No, but you don't see on here where it says stop return iPad to staff. If we scrolled up the iPad, underneath there's some additional data we capture. We have to capture things like which deltoid is it going into, what's the nurse initial, and then in there's information on what's the manufacturer, what's the lot code, what's the expiration date on that lot. We have to capture all that for purposes of CDC. So we capture all that, and basically when we talked about the app being able to preload that, we can load on the back end. I'm kind of talking about stuff that Aaron probably could talk about. We load that on the back end, and then when we refresh it, we can pull down and really input that app at any time. So or those lots at any time. It's very simple.
So the businesses, clients of ours, could preload with a piece of information. We store that in the cloud, and then based on selection of that field, we'll auto-populate 6 other fields below it.
Yeah. And then as you're talking, there's lots of different sales models come to mind between selling to the health plan, which may have some efficiency, versus individual practices. But as you just recently talked about towards the end there, is the EMR medical management companies, I mean, as an app to feed into their systems just makes total sense to me. It's just as an extension of the services that they're selling. So there's lots of ways that you could go to integrate that in, but to feed right into the medical records would be perfect. I mean, this fits perfectly with this year's changes in healthcare and the medical home concept. So,
right. And one thing we haven't shown is the health screening app, which captures a lot of other information, like we'll capture cholesterol, triglycerides, blood pressure, all those kinds of things too. So again, those can be used as well. They could be transferred in an EMR. What we envision them being able to do is being transferred, whether it's to the wellness company or their insurance company. And what happens then, a lot of times, is there's an outreach done right away. Well, the blood sugar on this guy's 140. We need an outreach because he's a diabetic. So I mean, it again, because of flexible data there, it can be transferred right away and something done with it immediately.
I'm going to touch on one other thing that Dave didn't say, maybe Nate, you're alluding to it earlier, and that is the setup process for companies or clients is very rapid. We have basically the platform and the account management set up and ready to go. So I think it's really a matter of doing some demos, setting a contract. This is not something that's on the App Store. This is something that we would set up some users in the cloud, as well as determine which forms or solutions the companies are looking to use. We could even brand it for your business as needed, like Dave alluded to, the enterprise solution. But I'd say rapid up and going is probably less than a week.
And infinitely scalable.
Scalable, right.
All right, last question. Dave, you've got 210 people here today. So with that kind of audience, what can we do to help you guys grow and achieve your goals?
We've already touched on it, I think, a little bit. Is we probably need some time and some help, and we're certainly open to, we're both running our own startups, so finding really help. We may be looking for some investment money too to help us build this. It's really our next step is how best to find the right mix to market this business and start selling it. We're ready to go. The product is built. We've got 2 years of experience with my business. Not only we know it works, we know how good it works and how many times we've improved it. So now it's just really kind of helping us launch.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, MediCloud.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good job, Dave. So we have just a couple announcements this week. We'll make them real quick. DJ, you want to go ahead?
Good morning, guys. StartFest by Boostly Summit is May 15th from 6 to 8:30. It's like demo days and tech cocktail, but it's free beer, free food. It's out at UCM, out in Lee Summit, and 850 Northwest Chipman Road, Lee Summit, Missouri. And you can go to Eventbrite or contact me if you want some additional information. I think Silicon Prairie might be putting it on their calendar as well. Thank you.
Cool. One other real quick announcement about an alumni of 1 Million Cups. If you guys remember, Leap 2 presented, was it about a month ago? Yeah, they were the first presenter, and then they just represented again. They just released, somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, they just released their iOS app yesterday, I believe. And if you've been reading the news, they just got a huge round of funding, and they're releasing their web version today. So if you get a chance, go check out Leap 2 and give them a huge congrats. It's a big success story. All right, so we'll keep it short and keep moving on to the next group. So how many people have some type of device? I'm going to try to think of this right. How many people want to play their music on their stereo still at home? Anybody still play music on their stereo? See, this is weird. Okay, so how many people play music through their iPhone? Okay, so more people. How many people, if they had a way to play their music from their iPhone on their stereo, they would probably play more music on their stereo? Okay. So I think this is one of the most exciting products I have seen recently, because not only we're looking at a way to stream music, which there's a lot of devices out there to do, but one of my biggest pain points, and I'll let them kind of talk more about it, but one of my biggest pain points is actually not ever having to use a remote control again, and instead having my phone control it all. So I'm going to go ahead and invite up Jason and Mark from Flyover KC, and let's give them a very warm 1 Million Cups welcome.
Can you hear me? Is it good? Okay. Thanks, George, for that introduction. So I'm Jason Carmen. This is Mark Vogt. We're both co-founders of Flyover Innovations. Flyover Innovations is one of the becoming more rare hardware startup companies. We're based out of Lenexa, Kansas, and we are all about product development and product design. We started here formally in January of this year, so we're still new to the startup community. We're trying to get our name out there right now. We've been working on our first product that we'll be launching. Mark and I have pretty much our entire history of work experience in product development with large companies. Mark and I first met each other here about 10 years ago. We were working at Garmin in Olathe. So our entire history is basically in product development. So this is the thing that we know very well. In order to make products, there's obviously a lot of competencies that are required. So we've been building up our staff. We've brought on some additional people that have been helping us to bring our first product to market, which is what we're going to talk about today. We'll start off with a little bit of a video here to give you a precursor to what we'll discuss. If we can make this work. That's the Blue Move. That gives you pretty much everything you need to know right there, right? Now, so what the Blue Move is it's a device that allows you to use your mobile device, your phone or your tablet, as a remote control and allows you to stream your music to your existing home stereo. So the idea for this is we're seeing a lot of things come into market right now that are small Bluetooth speakers, high-end receivers that have this capability kind of taken in. So people are compensating for their existing equipment by buying these small, inadequate Bluetooth speakers just to get the portability of being able to stream your music from your mobile device, which we always thought, well, there's a lot of good capable of equipment out there that we've already purchased, that we've already got inside of our houses, and why can't we use that equipment, upgrade it with a simple device like this, and allow you to turn on your stereo, change the station, change the auxiliary, and stream your music from your mobile device to your existing system. So think replacement of docking stations, outdoor speakers, whole home systems, things like that. Just gives you the versatility with your mobile device. When we did the design for the Blue Moo, it was all about simplicity and elegance. That's what we were really going for on this. So this kind of shows where we started from and what we were trying to achieve, and Mark will show you where we're at today. But simple. This is what we're going for with this product, because as much great technology as there is out there today, it's one thing to have it, and it's another thing to be able to use it. So this is what we're really going for. We want anybody to be able to use this stuff and to make their lives easier. Design, we wanted something that was nice because this is going to be sitting next to your home theater equipment. So we wanted it to kind of blend in, but be able to stand out a little bit on its own. And then compatibility, of course, is a big piece of this. We wanted to work with all the different types of smartphones that are out there, plus all the different manufacturers of equipment. So Sony, JVC, Harman Kardon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We wanted this thing to be very versatile.
Okay, so like Jason said, the design was all about, we don't want it to stand out, we don't want big flashing LEDs, and we want it to be easy to use. So you can see there, it's quite small. From the front, it looks like a very simple black device. It's got one LED just so you know it's on and connected, and that's it. It should be very, very simple. But the design on the back makes it so it stands out by itself. Inside, Bluetooth 4.0, so it works with all the Android devices, all the iOS devices. That means tablets and phones. We brought a single cable out so you didn't have a mess of cables behind it. That should keep it pretty elegant and simple in the back, and then it hooks into any stereo with RCAs, which every stereo has. We also, if you have a tough situation with infrared, we have a little external dongle that'll solve that problem. And here's our app. We try to keep it extremely simple. Big volume knob, the aux button, you push it, it'll bring up a list of your inputs. Power button, that's it. The bottom, depending on which input you're selected, will bring up a custom set of controls just for that input. So we keep the design very simple, very clutter-free, and really easy to use. And that's what we're all about.
So this is kind of where we're at today. You've seen we've done a lot of stuff here in the last few months since we've gotten started. We've made it a long way. You've seen our existing prototypes. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to get our name out there. So this is kind of what we're looking for this community to assist us with. Brand recognition, right? We are new to this group. We need your help in kind of spreading the word on our company. Help us get our name out there. We are launching on Kickstarter here soon. Hopefully, we're keeping our fingers crossed here. Let me tell you just a little bit of a thing here, because Kickstarter is a great channel to be able to take your initial products out to market. For anybody that's thinking about doing it, consider your options, because Kickstarter has grown tremendously here in the past few years as they've become successful. I think they've gotten a little bit big for what their staff is able to support. So it just takes it's a big process to be able to get through. There's such a queue in line there, so account for that if you're planning on going through Kickstarter. But we're hoping to be launching here on that in the next couple weeks. Distribution networks, we're starting discussions right now with different distributors. We've had really, really good feedback on the Blue Moose so far. We're in depth with a few large retailers right now and waiting to get the final thumbs up and the confirmation. But we're very positive about that. And then investor networks. So far to date, we have been able to bootstrap our company. So everything that you've seen here, how far we are with our functional prototypes, we've done this all internally. We've been running very, very lean, but we're at about the stage where we're starting to get a little bit tight. So we're going to start running some fundraising campaigns here and going out and talking to some investors. So if you know anybody that wants to get in early, let us know, and we'd be happy to have a discussion with them. And then, of course, follow us. Twitter handle is Flyover KC, and then we're also on Facebook right now. And
Great job.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna kick off some questions. I am totally fascinated. The software world I know a little bit more about, in that I help create iPhone apps. But talk about, I think there's a lot of people here, whether they're business development or kind of more on the soft technologies. What does it take to build a physical product? Actually get something from a rendering or a sketch all the way out to putting it together and getting ready. It sounds like to do a first order come late this summer.
Yeah, it takes a lot of different people to be able to do that. That's one of the reasons why I think that you're not seeing so many hardware startups anymore. It's an easier thing to, well, I shouldn't say it's easier. It's more simple to have a few people to make an app, but it requires a lot of different capabilities that a single person would never have for product development. So we're talking industrial design, hardware design, software design, app development, mechanical design, and manufacturing to be able to get to this point. And luckily for our group, this is exactly where we come from. This is what we know. So this to us is second nature, and we've got a very good network to be able to do this.
But you missed a ton of people because you need compliance, you need package design, graphic designers. It's endless. And then you have to set up distribution and things like that you don't have to with an app.
Right.
An app, you go to the iPhone, the store. Very simple. So it takes a lot longer to get all this stuff done. Certifications, to get the Bluetooth logo, you have to certify. That takes 8 weeks and costs a lot of money. And
manufacturing networks, supplier contacts.
So it's all about having a very large network.
It's good times. Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. It's all about just knowing a bunch of people, and we pull favors nonstop because we're a startup company, right? Luckily, we've worked for some large companies, and so we've got ins with a lot of these guys at the larger companies, the larger suppliers, the larger manufacturers. So luckily, we've got a past history with these guys, and we can pull a lot of favors to be able to get to where we are today.
All right. Do you have a pen and paper for some notes? Got good news for you. Anyway, with this being a technological product, what's really exciting about this is I would suggest that you send out some tech newsletters to like different news companies on the net. This will help your Kickstarter just go crazy with the scaling as far as rapidity. Some suggestions are CNET, Gizmodo, and there's a guy that I know for a fact has 518 subscribers, and he consistently reviews tech products, and he's on YouTube, and his tag is Soldier Knows Best. So he's very credible because he's actually a military guy. And,
I'm looking at my note taker, Steve. You want to write that one down?
Yeah, Soldier Knows Best, 500,000.
Yeah.
And Kickstarter, you should put in your little letter to have them shout out the Kickstarter in their YouTube review of your product. You'll probably have to kick them a prototype, but Kickstarter.
That's no problem. Thanks.
That's perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we are in a provisional patent phase right now, so we have the opportunity to file for a patent. There is IP here. We're trying to decide whether or not it's valuable to us to protect it. We've obviously had a lot of experience in IP before, and if you look at this product, in all honesty, what we're gauging for a shelf life on it is a few years, because eventually manufacturers are going to incorporate this into their devices. That's just where it's going to go. We're very aware that that's what's going to happen. What we are is we're a gap filler at this point, and our mentality is we have a full product roadmap right now. We are trying to figure out what's going to come next because we've got so many things that we've got ideas for. So our philosophy is continue to producing new products, get them out in the market, and let the other ones kind of go away. So if there's something that's very valuable to us in here that we can use, that we can sell, that's what we're evaluating right now, the value behind the patent. So is there something to patent? Yes, there is. Do we have a provisional patent so that we are capable of filing? Yeah. But have we actually filed for a formal patent? No, we haven't right now.
Kind of related to that note, can you talk about the competitive landscape and your projected price point for this product?
Yeah, absolutely. Out in the market today, there's been Bluetooth receivers for music out in the market for years. I mean, these things have been around for 6, 7 years, but they've never really become extremely popular. And one of the main reasons that this is different, there's nothing that combines the remote control plus the streaming device on the market today. And this is where the value add is, because picture if you have one of these little dongles that you can plug into, an RCA jack on the back, but it doesn't have the remote control function. What you still have to do is every time you want to stream your music, you have to go find your remote control, you have to turn on your system, and then you have to get your phone, and then you have to start streaming your music. With the infrared blaster built into our system, we're able to power on the system, switch over to the auxiliary that we want. We get additional remote control capability out of it. Pretty much anything that you can do with your normal remote control, we can build that into our app. So you've got full control over it, plus we've got the streaming, and we've got easy access to all of your media directories and your streaming applications through our app. One of the other things we're doing on the app, because there's so much that you can do, this is really just a hardware platform. We're releasing an open API on our product too, so other app developers can create, finesse, modify, make new apps that are available for this too, because there's no reason that this can't be used for controlling your TV, controlling your DVD player, et cetera. Everything that you've got in your home theater room, it's got the capabilities to do that. We've concentrated on the music because that's one of the common use cases that we see right now, where people have the docking station sitting next to their receiver or plugged in through a 3.5 millimeter jack, something like that.
And related to that question and specific to Apple, how do you differentiate yourself from AirTunes?
Well, simply, ours just works with everything. With AirTunes, you have to be Apple only, which is kind of a pain point, because if your wife has an Apple, an iPhone, and you have an Android, or you have an Android phone and an iPad, you have to be all Apple, all Android or Samsung and HTC are releasing their little TV things. They only work with Samsung and HTC. That's a pain, it's annoying. It shouldn't be that way. The cloud providers are doing the same thing. These silos are awful, and they should go away. So, yeah.
Have you guys considered anything for like car audio and a system that can just hook into like a manufacturer's radio or something?
There's some products out there that, since you don't need the IR portion, right? There are some systems out there that are specifically for car audio, so we're not going to focus there yet. But there's no reason it wouldn't work in the car. It's just a little bit overpriced for that market.
Oh, there was a question on price point too. $79 retail is what we're targeting on this. On this product, we are going overseas. Yep, so we did evaluation on several of our local manufacturers stateside, and we went overseas and evaluated some over there, and it just happened to be a really good fit for us.
Hey guys, my question is related to marketing and brand development. You've got a new, a catchy and interesting name and a new logo and brand and all that. Even if you are very successful with a crowdfunding project, whether it's Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or whatever it is, after that, there's the chasm to cross, right? And to do that, you need big marketing, but big marketing looks very different than it did even quite recently. What's your strategy for that? Do you think about partnering with known brands, or investing, getting enough investment money to go create your own brand, or what's the plan there?
It's a great question. It's one that we have internally all the time. Our strategy right now is what we would love to do is to create our own brand, right? This is all part of our product development phase. So we'll start off continue to release products, partner with some well-known, reputable marketing firms to assist us to get this thing going. But ideally, we'd like to maintain our own brand name and create a company around it.
So a follow-up question on that, brand name. Both things, Flyover Innovations, I'd love to hear the story behind that, how that came to be, and then Blue Moo. Talk to me how you come up with these names and what they mean.
Yeah, sure. Flyover, first of all, Flyover Innovations, you might be able to kind of pick out where we got that name from. We are, we're a Midwest startup, and we're very proud of our Midwest roots. And we wanted to display it in our company name, right? We wanted to say, hey, guess what? The Midwest can build good technology, can start tech companies, and we want to show the world that. And so we want to stick with a Midwestern name, and we want to be proud of that. The Blue Moo name, actually, we've gone through a few different iterations on the Blue Moo name before we've settled on this one. Settled before we selected this one. Yeah, that's how I should say it. But what we found was some of our original names we had. Things like umlauts and the what do you call that? The line over.
I don't know.
The thing to make we had funny names that were very difficult to do web searches for, and so it's just little simple marketing things like that we found out along the way, because we started off with a name and we're like, well, geez, nobody can ever search for this. It doesn't work, because we originally called it Pair, P-A-R, A with a line over the top of it, right? And then if you search for Flyover, Par is what it would have been. You get a bunch of golf courses, so it didn't really work very nicely for what we were trying to attract. So we ended up with Blue Moo. Blue Moo, where does it come from? It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Blue, Bluetooth, Moo, I think it was originally MU for music, but I just like the Moo better. So, yeah, not real science behind it. Yep.
So what's been one of your, what's been like the greatest takeaway you've learned from developing this product? I mean, every bit of it you've had to learn and call in favors and, kind of figure it out as you go. What's been one of the things that you can take away and kind of share with the rest of our crowd?
Yeah, I think we both probably can take our own stance on this one. My answer to that, since we are used to developing products in large companies, the biggest thing I've learned is that budgets are not endless, and we have to be very tight with money. And we have learned a lot on working and getting very far with very little.
And I'd say for me, it's you have these big networks, and some people are going to help you, and some people aren't. And if you can quickly identify which ones will help you, and then use their service or use it goes a long, long ways. So figure out who's not going to help you and move on, right? They're not going to start helping you if you ask again and again and again. So just find a different avenue. Don't hit roadblocks.
Okay, so the final. Okay. You sure you have time for me? All right. Seems like when I think about all the 1 Million Cups companies that have come through here, which has been a lot, just shy of 100 now, we've had a lot of startups in the music space. So I'm just kind of noticing as an overall trend, A, why do you guys think that is? And B, what attracted you to this market over some of the other markets that you mentioned? And can you tell us a little bit about why you think there's money there? Why you think that there are customers there? Just give us a little bit of your thought process on why music.
Well, Jason went to CES this year, and it was all Bluetooth little speakers, right? These really poor Bluetooth speakers. So we know that there's interest in the audio space, and people have been spending money on music forever, right? So as long as there's been music. So there's definitely a market. Why we chose this is it was a pain point for Jason and I, right? This was something that we personally wanted. That was really it. We had some other product ideas that we were going down, and we stopped developing those and went for this because it was fairly straightforward to create. We didn't want to get tripped up on anything that we didn't know exactly how to do at this stage. There's enough problems in startup community where we have all kinds of branding issues and marketing issues that we don't have experience with. So we'll keep the technology simple, make sure we can manufacture it, and launch it. So
Yeah, in addition to that, obviously music is a big market, but we are targeting actually a subset of the market too. What we're targeting is the overlap of people with smartphones, which is everybody, but also people with these existing systems, right? That's kind of what we're doing, is we're bringing premium functionality to your existing stereo. So you've got your capable system. We allow you to take premium functionality to that without having to reinvest in the new equipment that's coming out that's extremely expensive, right? You can basically add exactly what that thing has on it by sticking this device on it.
Okay, one quick wrap-up question. We'll make this our last question as well. I know we talked a little bit before this morning, where are you guys at in your actual launch cycle and getting this to market? I know that you're doing a Kickstarter, but what's your timeline to actually get it so that we can start buying it?
Yeah, we are at fully functional prototype stage right now. Go back to the image with the prototype, just so you're aware that this is actually a fully functional prototype right here. This isn't a rendering, of course. I mean, so we're already complete through that point. We're ready to start cutting tooling and ordering components for our initial builds. Our target is to go into actually have products available for shipping come late August. Yep.
All right, great job, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. As always, definitely make sure that you tweet out about 1 Million Cups at 1 Million Cups or hashtag 1MC. One last announcement real quickly, and I think that we want to continue to explain that if you haven't been here before, my name is George Brooks. We have Mike and John. We're all volunteers. We are John, and Melissa. I'm sorry, Melissa. Melissa's great. She does all of our social media. We're volunteers. We're actually entrepreneurs ourselves, so just so it's clear, we don't work for Kaufman. We're actually one of you and want to be connecting with you as much as possible. But we have a birthday as of yesterday, right? So what we'd like to do is, Mike, come on up, and we're going to sing Happy Birthday to Mike. All right. So we'll just make it real quick. All right, ready? You gonna?
Yeah. We'll start it, but don't leave us hanging.
Yeah, it'll be really awkward. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to birthday to you. All right, thank you guys. That was fun. All right, have a good week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.